So I'm not sure he should just go, okay, they're just being nuts. Do I believe everybody who writes, I'm going to kill you, means that? No, I think what a lot of people mean is, I've got about 3 brain cells, I'm hammered drunk, and I can't stand you. I think that's what people mean when they say I'm going to kill you. You know, to, the charities that he's gotten all of this, which I like. I think that's pretty cool out of Bill's Mafia there. And I don't necessarily hate that, but Logan had been listening, and he did send this text at 330-450-7625. And he said, I would rather make $5 million and get death threats versus make the $80,000 a year I am with no death threats. Okay, well, I understand how you came to that conclusion. Is it possible that that's an opinion you can have because people aren't going to give you the death threats? Like, not to harp on the money again, but I have a couple of listeners when I talk money all the time that always tell me, you can show up on my doorstep with a suitcase full of $4 million and blah, 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 and I'm not gonna. And I was like, well, yeah. Everybody can turn down the imaginary suitcase with $4 million in it. The hard part is when you open it and that Pulp Fiction light starts to come from that goddamn money. Saying no to it then. That's going to be the hard part. Everybody can turn down the couple of $1 million that ain't coming. So is this one of those things that we think, I could deal with that because I have the money? I think what's going to happen to you is, and I could be dead wrong, that early you're like, dude, I got the money. I can put my wife and my kids in this nice house. I paid off my parents' house. I'm good. I got this. But then after a while, what happens? It's your life. And the newness of having the money is now worn off. Like when you get a raise. You celebrate for the first 6 months, and after a while, you're like, wasn't enough. And so I think what may happen to celebrities is, I love this. A lot of good stuff's coming from this. I got my kids in good schools. I got my parents out of their jobs. All that's good. Yes, yes, yes. But I think 2 years in, you're sitting there saying, wait a minute. Because I get paid this money, and that's why this is accepted in today's society, is because I make this money and other people don't, this is what I have to accept? I'm not sure about that. You got to remember, when somebody threatens you with a death threat, what are they really doing? Threatening to leave your children without a parent. How are you going to handle that feeling? It's going to be different. I get nobody's going to pull out the violin and cry for Tyler Bass or a professional. Now, you get to the end of the day, you realize, I got it pretty good. Money's pretty good. I like my job a lot. Don't let this one person get that far to me. I've laughed off a lot of death threats that have come. Absolute dopes. But, they get all emotional. Crazy? Take things seriously now. Boys will be boys. People screwing around. I'm screwing around. Those days are over. Social media puts everything. Address at my previous residence was posted in Facebook groups like 2 years ago in this town because of something I said on the air here. Is that fair? Should I deal with that because I make more money than those people? The answer is, of course, no. 69. See it, so let's address it. Pulling from CantonRep.com now, we're finding out that country music superstar Carrie Underwood is now going to be your headliner, a hot seller, the 2005 American Idol winner. Wow. God, man, that's going back some ways, but yeah, I guess it was really that long. Seems weird. But yeah, she had won American Idol. She's going to perform August 4th, Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium at the Hall of Fame Village. The 8-time Grammy winner will be the first female headliner at the Concert for Legends. That, obviously, one of the most popular events during the annual celebration for the enshrinement classes and the like. Now, this very much to me will come off like the Super Bowl halftime show, who's singing the national anthem and this kind of stuff. And people are like, that's not this, that ain't that, and this ain't that. And I think a lot of times people, myself included occasionally, have to be reminded it's not always our turn. So just because we don't necessarily love something doesn't mean it's a bad idea. And I don't think Carrie Underwood is all that bad of an idea to have for the Concert for Legends. Now she may not be big enough. I think the answer is probably nonetheless. Now, I've been wrong about this a couple of times. I thought the Toby Keith Kid Rock thing was going to end up being gangbusters, and they needed a little bit of a push for that. I don't think that was as hot of a ticket as people had thought, myself included. I still feel, now this is my personal taste here, I feel like my first year here was the best one, Aerosmith. Now, I prefer Aerosmith versus all the other artists who have played it, although there have been some good ones, and I was also heavily involved that year. We had a Stansbury Show section. They sold beer for the first time. It was like a big deal. And like, so that it's, when I think back about Aerosmith and the Concert for Legends, it's a fond memory for me. You know, second chance back at doing what I love doing. I found a great place to live, a great community of listeners. Like, it's just, it felt like, dude, people laugh all the time, but Canton has been the land of milk and honey for me. Like, I absolutely love it here. You need the jaws of life to get me out of here now. Dude, I prefer living here maybe more than any other place I've ever lived versus Southern Oregon, maybe a little bit. But that's, you know, about oceans and mountains and that kind of stuff. But like, as far as people go, you leave me right here. I love it here. So I look back very fondly on Aerosmith because, you know, we were a part of that. I broadcast live for that, and we were a big deal in that. And it's also been my favorite artist that they've had. The Tim McGraw thing was good, you know, and there's been some others. But I would expect that Carrie Underwood is going to be a hot ticket. But like I said, I have predicted this before with some of this, and I have been wrong. But something, I mean, she still does like the "Are you ready for some football" stuff, right? And so I don't think it's necessarily crazy that they reached out and grabbed her, although they kind of moved that to Stapleton this year and Snoop. I can't keep it all straight. But, you know, she had been a big part of that, and she's just got that name. And there's something about, like, you don't have to go to Cleveland to see Carrie Underwood. You can just kind of go 10 minutes from your house. And that's one of the reasons why I love the Concert for Legends. About this, we kind of have to travel a little bit out of our way to go do the fun stuff, the big event type thing. I mean, there's plenty of fun things to do in Canton, I'm not saying that, but when like somebody's touring through town, it's not like, hey, they're in my backyard right now. It's like, all right, we'll go to Rocket Mortgage, go to CSU, we'll go, you know what I mean? You kind of have to do that to get, or maybe even Youngstown, right? You kind of split in between some places. Canton's one of those places people kind of hop over it. And so the Concert for Legends I love because the design is to get you right there, to bring that star and bring them right here. Now, I've told you this before. This is a personal thing. I don't know if this will apply to everybody. But once you reach a certain level, whether I like you or not, I kind of want to see it. Let me see what makes you you. Now, I've seen Carrie Underwood before. I have done that. I'm lucky enough to be offered tickets to things that I would never buy tickets to, but it's like, all right, yeah, maybe, you know, I'll get my eyes on that. Why not, right? And so I've been very blessed and lucky for that. But, you know, since she's going to be right here, easy way to put a couple of tickets on the credit card. Look, boo, we're going to go do this, and that'll be a good night out. And maybe they're going to go back and get me another rock band next year, maybe something a little bit more my style next year. It's fine. It's not always my turn. I'm not always going to get everything I want. I find this hilarious because most people are parents and you spend all day telling your kids that, but when you find out that Godsmack's not playing the Concert for Legends, all of a sudden they're ruining your whole damn life.
Live from the Hall of Fame City, and just as bad as NFL officiating, the Stansbury Show on Rock 106.9.
If you missed the announcement, Carrie Underwood is your Concert for Legends artist this summer. We'll have more opinions on that tomorrow. I wanted to get to this story, and I meant to do it, honestly, in the 8 o'clock hour. Just got a little over my skis on some other stuff. But Netflix announced a partnership deal with the WWE deal. 10-year, $5 billion agreement to start streaming Raw beginning January of 2025. Raw has aired on the USA Network since 2005. Netflix has the option to cancel the 10-year deal with WWE after 5 years, and they also have the option to extend the deal for an additional 10 years. That, according to some documents that were filed by the WWE parent company, TKO. A $500 million annual average is the most aggressive sum by any broadcaster that's been invested in professional wrestling. Netflix is jumping all in on WWE. and perhaps live sports to follow, and they will. I watched most of the NFL playoff games these last couple of weeks through an app, not on my live TV program. I have Hulu with live TV, but Paramount's got the CBS games, I think. Peacock had some of the NBC stuff, so I'm watching it on the streamers.
Just getting off work.
So my guess is they're figuring this out. Netflix did that golf thing out in the desert, and they had Bert Kreischer kind of hosted, and it was one of the most abysmal things I've ever seen in my entire life. Do not let that guy riff off the cuff. That's a terrible idea. I mean, terrible. He was awful at that. I love Bert. That's not his strike zone. Not even close. And they were a little, sketchy with some of that stuff because it was one of their first live event things. So you're gonna, knock some of the, some of the kinks out of it, and they'll be back. I think these streaming apps are more popular. We're watching most of our stuff there. The live component was going to be moved into this. I know my Max app, which is HBO stuff, that will give me live news. I can watch live news on that, and I don't hate that. So my guess is, yes, Netflix is going to be looking to get into more and more stuff, right? Apparently the NBA, because the NBA rights deal with ESPN and Warner Brothers, that apparently ends after the 24-25 season.
We're doing okay.
Multiple reports are saying that NBC and Amazon will look to join the league's two current partners as part of a wide distribution plan. No one of note has mentioned Netflix as a possible partner for the NBA, but nobody's ruling it out either. I can see it. And as a matter of fact, I might even want it. Now, what's going to happen? Well, it already happened. Everybody started saying this. Get ready for Netflix to raise the rate. Well, yes. The more I offer you, the more money I want for it. That's business. It's just the way it works. Did we really think streamers weren't going to be part of that business model? That's crazy. I have a wildly unpopular opinion on this. Streaming services aren't expensive enough. They're too good of a bargain. Want proof? Sure, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's go to Google and ask Google, how many titles are on Netflix? That's what I asked Google. Here are the responses. Recent data tells us there are 6,621 movies, series, and or specials on Netflix. Now again, they pulled those numbers July of last year. So not that long ago, right? I'm willing to bet it's within the margin of error there. This number excludes the 60 plus video games that are on the app too. Now, of the 6,621 titles on Netflix, how many are Netflix original programming? Meaning it's not Big Bang Theory that they didn't make, that they just host there for you to watch. This is what they're making. How many of those titles would you assume are Netflix originals? I have the answer for you. It's okay. It is 3,657. That's a lot. Those originals cost a lot of money to produce. Like a lot. Did you watch that Rebel Moon movie on Netflix? It's not like the best movie I've ever seen or anything, but pretty good for, sit around, get high, and watch something. Pretty good. And I watched that thing, I was like, that could not have been cheap to make. I pulled up my Netflix account, and I've looked at what I'm paying. I said, let me change my streaming plan so I could see all the plans. So let's walk you through the plans currently with Netflix right now. Standard Netflix account with advertising in it. You get the great video quality, full HD, 1080p. You'll get a few ad breaks on your phone, tablet, computer, or TV. And you're allowed to download that on 2 different devices. That, $7 a month. Take your kids to Five Guys tonight. I'm going to remind you that food that you go out and spend $120 on at restaurants and this day, you end up dumping that out into a toilet. Where $7 a month, I could watch damn near 7,000 things. Now, if you want a standard Netflix plan, full HD, 1080p, watch ad-free on any phone, tablet, or computer, and you get 2 devices there too, $16 a month. Actually cheaper than that. I rounded up. It's $15.50. That's a bargain. Are you kidding me? It's an absolute freaking steal. Now the plan I currently have. Our best video quality, Ultra HD 4K. My new TV's 4K, so I wanted to have that. HDR, somebody can explain to me what the hell I'm talking about there. Watch ad-free, any phone, tablet, computer, or TV, and I can download it on 6 devices.
It's okay.
$22.99 a month. $23 a month. Do you know what it costs me to go play a round of golf? Anywhere between $40 and $65, depending on the course. By the way, rates are going to go up this summer as courses keep closing. The courses that are open, only going to raise their rates from there. So 4 hours worth of enjoyment, unless you're playing in front of me and decide to take all damn day, and it's 7 hours, and I want to bury my 9-iron in your forehead. It's 4 hours of fun for $65. Or I could lay around all day, watch 7,000 different things for $23. Streaming services aren't too much money. They're not even close to too much money. When you think about how you're nickeled and dimed everywhere around you, and it feels repetitive. Like, I don't necessarily need this. Repetitive's not the right word. But, like, I feel like it's, it's stacked on top of other stuff I have. I don't necessarily need it. You know, I used to watch a lot of golf, although that sport's going through a bunch of stuff, and I'm just kind of like, ugh, I'm just kind of tired of, like, the live and the whole thing. I'm just tired of hearing about it. So I haven't really watched as much golf. But that's what I was watching on live TV. So I may get rid of that. I don't think streaming services are too much money. I think we maybe have too many of them. And so you're watching how much money you're spending every month versus that one bill, and everybody's starting to complain about it now. If only there would have been a guy smart enough to sit in a room like this 10 years ago telling everybody, I'd stop cutting the cord right now. Wait till you watch what they do to this. And everybody always laughed at me and called me an idiot. And I was like, do you guys not understand I work for one of these companies? I work for a company like Netflix. That's what this company is. So I know how we operate, and I knew how they were going to operate. I knew that. And so did most people. Netflix is too much money? Are you kidding me? That's an absolute freaking steal. So get the 2 kids in the car, wife, everything, go to the movies, $120, half of an afternoon. But $23 per month is too far? I'm sorry, no. No. Dollar per dollar, pound for pound, streaming services should be $100 a month minimum. They should. By the way, I'm going to remind some of you who were talking about how Hollywood should be paying the actors the right way. Make sure you're paying the actors. Make sure you're paying the writers. Make sure you're doing all of this stuff. Oh, but I want to download your streaming service for free, and I want to piggyback off my friend's account. Why aren't you paying these people this money? You. It's why they're not paying it. Because we openly tell everybody, just steal it. I used to have a guy, he doesn't listen anymore because of how many times I made fun of him about this, and it's because he was an absolute idiot. But he used to tell me that downloading things for free on the internet wasn't stealing because it's, wait for it, just there. It's just there. Just there, Stanford. Just there, Stanford. Okay, well, if I walk into any brick and mortar store today, guess what's on the shelf? Stuff that's just there. Check out the Big Brain on Brett.
The Stansberry Show on Rock 106.9.
330-450-7625 to send a text to the studio. As we've been talking about Netflix. Signed a deal with the WWE. Start carrying their products. Raw was at the center of attention here. They're going to pick up that program off of USA next year, 2025. And they're paying $500 million per year over 10 years. Now, Netflix can get out of the deal 5 years in, or they can extend it another 10, according to some documents that have been filed by TKO, the parent company of the WWE. They have since sold some of that operation and all that stuff. You guys know wrestling's not necessarily my thing, but it is massively popular. Nobody's paying $500 million a year for something that it doesn't have an audience. Like, when I saw that number, I was like, Jesus. Like, that stuff is still massively popular. And I saw a lot of people yesterday as this was starting to leak out, and this morning, talking about how I'm going to walk away from Netflix. Okay. The last time everybody told me they were canceling Netflix was over the rate hikes, right? Which, of course, adding WWE will add another rate hike to their thing. But I also remember when they were like, hey, we're going to start cracking down on the password sharing. Bye-bye, Netflix. See you later. End of time. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It was such a terrible move that they added 13 million subscribers by cracking down on password sharing. It did exactly what I told you it was going to do. When the faucet gets shut off, you will walk around to go find some water, and that's exactly what's happened. I don't believe most people are going to walk away from Netflix over a minimal increase in what their streaming costs are. Now, are you then going to maybe make some decisions about canceling a streaming service so you can hold on to the ones you really need? Fair. I was talking about that with me. The only reason I have Hulu is for live TV, so I can watch the golf tournaments on the weekend and watch football. Both of those things are moving into streamers, and so I said, this was me being an idiot. I had called me having Hulu repetitive, and what I meant to say was redundant, and sorry about that. But it feels a little like that. Like, I'm not sure I need Hulu with live TV anymore. I don't watch a lot of stuff live. Sports is pretty much the only thing that I watch live. Most things you can stream later, or, you know, time delay or this and that. Good, bad, or indifferent, not necessarily a part of it. But as they added 13 million people to their customer base when they crack down on the password thing, I think people are going to line up and pay to watch the WWE. Or to keep Netflix. Let's be honest. Some of you don't decide what streaming services you have. Your kids decide. Right? I know. Absolutely, I get it. Because a lot of times what you're doing is putting the kids in front of the television. Fair, I get it. My parents did it too. I was a Scooby-Doo kid. Yeah, anybody shocked to find that out? Sound like one, don't I? Yeah, exactly. So, like, what your kids want is what you're going to put in the house. Like, let's be honest. And then past that, guys, what's the real deal? What your wife wants, the wife gets. So if the wife wants Netflix for something, guess what? You're paying for Netflix. You can talk tough all you want on them social media channels, bro, but I know how it works. When you go at home and nobody can see you anymore and you lock that door, dude, she whips your little ass right in shape, baby. I know exactly how it goes. You ain't lying to me. You lying to you. That's who you're lying to. People aren't going to come off Netflix over this. I got to be honest with you. I think $23 a month might not be expensive enough. Just under 7,000 movies, television shows, and original. By the way, just under 4,000 originals. The money for those doesn't just fall out of the sky. And by the way, the streaming services saw who you really were during the pandemic. Not a hobby amongst us, huh? Not one. Learned to play the harmonica, did you? No. No, but you caught up on every episode of Breaking Bad that you ever missed. We spend our entire lives laying around, shoving potato chips into our mouths, staring at these TVs. You didn't think this was going to be worth the money? What's your cell phone bill every month? Now, do you use your phone like a phone? No. What are you doing with your phone most of the time? Watching videos, watching streaming services on it. It's like $200 a month for a cell phone. That's probably a little much, maybe $130. So that's worth $130 a month, but $23 for 7,000 movies at your fingertips is too far? No, it isn't. No, it isn't. This proves what I've been saying for about 6 months. Appreciation for art forms is at an all-time low. Because you can just press play on anything and get anything you want in a moment's notice. So we've lost our appreciation of the arts. There's never been a worse time to be a creative person than right now. AI's taken your ability to create away from you, and nobody thinks you're worth anything because it's just so easy. And I'll just go press download. Look at all these years later. Metallica has been proven right on Napster. They've been proven right. This is because it destroyed that industry, and streamers, the video streamers, figured it out. Do not let what happened to Tower Records happen to us. Do not let that happen. Reduce the monthly price to where they will do it versus steal from us. That's what they've tried to do. And they're going to continue to do it. And just like I said, people are not walking away from Netflix over the password crackdown, and they didn't. They didn't. They figured this out. Somebody signs in another house, they got to text you for the code that came into their email. People aren't going to want to do that enough, and so people are going to then end up paying for their own account or go without. But if you're a WWE fan, you're a WWE fan, and you're going to pay this money to watch it. My Netflix account, and I have the best plan that they offer, the best one they offer, or the highest tier, whatever it is, $22.99 per month. That to me is an absolute steal for how much stuff is up there. Now, once I pay the cable bill, my cell phone bill, and some other stuff, yes, it's like, damn, man, I'm bleeding money all over the place. But the streamers aren't where I'm losing too much of my money. Some of my other bills feel like that. But $23 a month to watch whatever I want, whenever I want, in any room in my house I want? I mean, even with inflation, even with the money, if I got into a time machine and went back 50 years and told them you could have all of this in your living room for $23 a month. You know how far $23 went 50 years ago? I bet it's still a bargain then versus now. It's absolutely worth the money. We've just been conditioned to steal and expect everybody to give us everything for free, which is ruining art. If you missed any of those conversations, pick up the podcast for free at WRQK.com. That will go up shortly. Aside from that, done for the day. Not back live again until tomorrow. Teresa's passing out a $1,000 keyword, 10 o'clock, so go out, check her out. I am done. Not back live until tomorrow. Stay safe out there. Be good to one another. And do, in fact, meet me here tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for Thursday's program on Rock 106.9. Have a great afternoon, and hopefully I run into you somewhere around town.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life. No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and